contemporary spiritual author John Shea has a chapter called The Secret of the Towel in his book, Gospel Light. Shea begins the chapter this way. I have always had a fondness for the headings of 19th century novels. They read something like this. Lady Margaret swoons on hearing the news from Lord Geoffrey's manservant that her dowry has been lost at sea. Alas, to pirates. That kind of commentary is similar to what we hear in the gospel passage that opens for us this sacred triduum. Now, John says, before the feast of Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart the world and to go to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During supper, when the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, and on and on. This introduction allows us to enter the consciousness of Jesus. And then we're suddenly brought to that consciousness of Judas and the devil, who, as Shea puts it, is eating slices of Judas's heart. Eating slices of his heart. What an image. Humans refer to the heart so often because it stands for who we are. We speak about the heart of Jesus as the sacred heart, a holy symbol of the love of God. It is this love beyond measure, beyond cost, that we celebrate in the saving events of these 3 days. We begin tonight by recalling the Exodus, pivotal in all of the Bible. Remembering the deliverance of Israel from their slavery in Egypt, we understand that Jesus will undergo another kind of exodus. And in his passion, we will be invited to join him. Those of every time, of every place, are invited into this mystery of liberation and communion, imitating the love of God, whose heart we see in the person of Jesus. The Jesus of this fourth gospel teaches his last lesson to those who have gathered with him around that Passover table. It is ultimately about love, which gets translated as service. John gives us every detail of this lesson. Jesus rises from the table, lays aside his garments, and then this kind of scandalous scene comes next, suggesting that God is a servant. Tying a towel around his waist, the Son of God gets to work. What he does has multiple meanings. Feet symbolize the journey of life, walking in time and over space, getting battered and bruised, carrying the marks of the struggle. Feet need to be cleaned and refreshed. But Jesus not only washed their feet, he dried them. He readied them for what was coming next in the journey, because it was not over. It is startling that God performs this action. What kind of God in ancient culture was a servant? It is not how conventional religious people think of God, is it? No great display of power here, no wonder working, just the action of a slave, of a servant, just the demonstration of love. It's not surprising then that Peter was confused. What was Jesus thinking? The master should not be washing the feet of the disciples. It should be the other way around, if anything. But Jesus does not offer any response to Peter's objection, except to tell him that if he is going along with him, this is part of the deal. If we are going along with him, this is part of the deal. serving others, is what God's work is. And God does this work through us. Some scholars suppose that Judas could not understand that kind of a Messiah. And because he was closed to the possibility of a God who was pure love, it was easier for Satan to lead him into the darkness, to eat his heart, slice by slice by slice. But the heart of God is laid bare before us in these 3 days. A heart that is love, pure and simple, holding all the possibility of human transformation and into the union with the divine. The mystery of the cross is a mystery of transformation and union. Our hearts changed from stone to flesh. Our lives changed from self-serving to self-emptying. Our feet refreshed and strengthened for the journey that is to come. We are able to go forward and complete the mission like Jesus. Jesus knew his mission and was determined to complete it even at the cost of his human life. His heart was set on trusting the Father who would lead him to deliverance from death into new life. Returning to the Father, Jesus would bring the world before the Father, before God. Now the world will be in the Father when Jesus is in the Father. The Passover of Jesus is the bringing together of what was formerly alienated, the union of human and divine. God in Jesus the Christ is open to the world, and the world opened to God. These 3 days celebrate all that means for us. They begin when we pick up the towel and go to serve one another, seeing the giving of our lives like Christ as what ultimately frees and joins us together in God's love.